All right, so for my high impact coaching implementation, I've decided to present at a conference that we host in our district. It's called the Experiencing Success Today Conference. This is a conference that's put on by ADM teachers for ADM teachers. So at first, I thought it was a kind of a silly idea to have this conference from people that I could talk to anytime about these different ideas, but once I attended one conference. This will be our third year doing it. It was actually really, really cool to see my peers as experts for some component of teaching and to just hear uh, what they do differently and what they do better and be able to learn from them and apply what they do. And so I'm excited about presenting this. I'll present with another teacher. Her name is Sarah. She is the other half of ninth grade science she teaches, and she's also a halftime instructional coach. And so, though we haven't presented this um, session yet, just working through it has kind of been that implementation and developing this idea and then kind of fleshing it out. So our students have been using student-paced learning this year. We present to them a whole unit at a time, and then they work through it on their own. And so this is kind of formatted similarly to that, but there's been some pretty major modifications that we've made to account for adult learners versus student learners. And so the students or the participants are kind of going to be learning by doing what the students do. So we'll actually present in the traditional format the first handful of slides here, first 4 slides. And then when we get to this slide, the participants will type in this web address and be able to make a copy of this presentation and then actually type in it and kind of reflect and apply within these slides. There's spots for them to type. So I don't expect you to do that, but if you wanted to, you could actually do that and then participate in the uh, presentation that way. So I start by really tying it back to a why are we doing this in terms of why for the students. The why is for the students, which is an idea that came from Sweeney in student-centered coaching. This framework is something that our teachers in our district have seen a lot. It's brought up and referenced in every one of our technology-focused professional development sessions, which happen about once a month. And I really hit on the things that my students have been able to do down here, these whys, but not just what they've been able to do, but what they've been able to do because of the use of technology and things they wouldn't have been able to do before. Like they're taking risks in new ways, they're building community in new ways, and they're able to innovate in ways they weren't able to before. And so, to me, that's really important to have a really solid why to what we're doing, or why we're doing what we're doing. And so that makes it this even more meaningful, I think. Uh, Another thing I do is in terms of coaching conversations, because I'm only presenting these first handful of slides, I'm really freed up to be able to kind of listen and rotate and ask questions using some of those coaching stems. And so um, I've created room for learning conversations, kind of like Jim Knight mentions in instructional coaching. I even have a stop sign built in where the participants are expected to stop and then discuss with one another what their thoughts were from the previous activity. Um, some other ways that I've encouraged these conversations is just by encouraging reflection for the teachers. They spend time reflecting on their current reality and then spend time reflecting on the learning they've done through different applications. And at the end here, they think about how might this be adapted for their classroom to fit the context of their classroom. They even have to compose a tweet that they'll share with me and use our hashtag in our district to be able to kind of spread these ideas. as Jim Knight says, that one of our roles as coaches is to spread knowledge. And so this is kind of a way that we can do that. Other way I've spread knowledge is there's a few times that there's someone's Twitter that's linked in here that has someone who has a passion for or has demonstrated to be a good source of educational technology ideas, such as Richard Byrne here. He's a good resource. And then also I have just simple quotes throughout in here, like there's an activity in here about the use of technology, and just this simple quote from this guy: technology is a tool, not a learning outcome. So we tie back to our learning outcomes are actually these five whys that we do. These are what we want our students to be able to do because they're using technology. And again, we got this guy's Twitter linked in here. Also, through this, in a way, I'm kind of being a leader of change. This is our first year with the Chromebooks, and so having each student have these devices in their hand, teachers are really kind of struggling to find ways to use them in a meaningful way, to not just take their worksheets and put them online, but actually make real valuable, purposeful meaning in ways they wouldn't have been able to do without the technology. And so to me, this is one thing that we have seen useful and meaning that wasn't possible before come from this sort of teaching. A couple ideas from Art of Coaching by Elena Aguilar that have come out is that reflection piece. I've already kind of developed some trust from teachers in regards to technology in our technology professional development sessions, where not only am I engaging in the session, but I'm also able to help the teachers around me navigate to where they're supposed to be, or kind of troubleshoot some problems that they have on the fly. And so I've developed a lot of trust from teachers in that way, that they can feel free to ask me about a technology question that they have. I demonstrate for teachers a belief in them to grow and learn and apply through opportunities like the participant discussion here, where they're discussing with one another. And then also I give them resources to be able to grow. I think it's important as a coach to have that sort of mindset that the people I'm working with can improve, can grow. And so I provide resources for them to be able to do that here that are linked right in. So these are just a handful of ways that the stuff we've learned this semester in our coaching class have really ended up applying to something that I decided to take on this year, and is hopefully going to actually make a big impact in our district. And so it's great to learn with all of you this semester. I look forward to hearing some feedback from you on what seems to be done well, what could be improved. And thank you, Anne, for pushing me this semester to just learn and grow. So I look forward to seeing you all in class on Wednesday and finishing the class together.